Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Old Guy in the Club podcast. As you can tell, I am on vacation. Well, maybe you couldn't tell, but I am on vacation, and that's why I'm dressed like an idiot. And then we have Neil and Zilla, who are dressed like they are always dressed in San Diego and New York. What's going on, guys?
Good afternoon, Mr. Zotz.
Neil, what's happening with you, man? What's happening? How you doing over there?
So for everybody at home, Neil is working through some technical difficulties. We've got a little bit of a connection issue, which Neil is working through. But I think we should be able to get him back on in just a few minutes. At least we hope.
Hey, Neil.
But we are live.
Hey, Neil, it's saying your mic isn't connected. You might want to log off and log back on, and I'll get things started for us. What do you think? Oh, there you are. Are you there? Neil Jackson, are you there? Well, we're just gonna go with it. This is the reality of live
TV. Yeah.
TV, comment, podcast, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so welcome everybody. First off, I just want to say thank you to Jamie Hyder for coming on last week. That was a very, very fun episode. What an incredible guest she was. I know I had fun. I think she had fun. We've had some conversations this past week just laughing at the things we were talking about. And I think everybody had fun. So that was last week. And this week, Neil left. He'll come back.
He'll be back.
So for this week, our topic is we're going to talk about kind of the current state and the future of live events. And when I say live events, what I'm talking about is concerts, festivals, even sporting events, baseball games, football games. I mean, who knows if we're going to have a football season. Baseball season started, then it stopped, and it started. Who knows what's happening? NBA started last night. There's a lot of things going on. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about if our guest, Omid, who we're going to bring in a second, if he's comfortable throwing events right now. We just have a lot of topics today, so let's not waste any more time, and we'll just start flowing into it. Neil will join us when he can. So our guest today is Omid Sabet, and Omid, I'm getting a FaceTime here on my phone while I'm trying to do my show, which always is a great throws me off every time.
It is live, so everybody knows that we don't pre-record this, we don't pre-tape it. It happens in real time, in the moment. And before you bring in Omid, I just really quickly, what's also happening in real time, the chat room. So everybody that's in the chat, of course, please get in on the conversation. We want you a part of this as well. Sorry to interrupt. It's all yours.
You interrupt whenever you want, and the little technical issues.
Well, in that case, hi to the Black Amigo, Natawax, Mel's Angels, Jenna 2882. Just everybody that's in the room, tell your friends, let everybody know that the Old Guy in the Club is on the air right now, and we want you in the show with us. There, done. Justin looking fly and dapper. Obviously, Jenna has been drinking.
Well, that's probably the case. But for those of you not watching and just listening, I am in full vacation mode, wearing a flamingo Hawaiian shirt and one of the more ridiculous hats I've ever seen. I've never worn a hat like this, but why not? I'm on vacation. Well, let's see if Neil's back here. Hey Neil.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect now. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Neil will play some music. No, I'm just kidding. So we're just going to roll into it. Welcome, Neil. How's things in New York?
Luckily the weather cooled down, so everything's good. Everything is good.
Yeah. I'm out here on the Jersey Shore fist pumping, and it's pretty humid here still.
Your outfit looks like you should be like giving tips to like winning horses at the racetrack. It's
funny you should mention that. We did have a lot of as some of you probably know, my brother is in the horse game and owns some horses, and the last 3 days we've been betting on some races, and actually big congratulations to him. He started a new racing conglomerate or team. I don't know what you actually call it. and they won their first race the other day. So congrats to them, and I won money on it too. I didn't jinx them, which is nice. Anyway, let's get back to the show. So
Yes.
we're gonna bring in our good friend Omid Sabet. I've known Omid, probably around over 10 years at this point. Zilla, you probably know him longer than that.
Just a little bit. Yep.
And he is a guy, he lives in San Diego, and he's been throwing events and producing large-scale events now for a very, very long time. And we used to work together in San Diego. He always used to get mad at me when I would call him a promoter, even though that's what he was back then. But now he's laughing. I can see him in backstage right now. But he's grown into a much bigger career at this point. He's producing some really, really big events, and I'm not going to get into it. I'd rather he told us about it. So yeah, let's bring him in. Here is Omid Sabet.
Hey!
There he is.
Homie, my
man.
homie, welcome.
You have me cracking up.
The promoter comment, is that what it was?
You know, it's funny because I was going to ask you to tell people how I know you, like how we met, and that promoter was going to come up. So I'm glad you brought it up in advance.
Well, back then you were a promoter, and then, you've always owned your own company since I've known you. So, I mean, I don't think of promoter as a what's the word, pejorative or derogatory term, but a lot of people do. So I understand the hesitancy to go by promoter.
I couldn't own it.
Yeah, no, but you were always one of the one of the best guys to work with out there in San Diego, and obviously, we're still friends to this day. So things didn't end badly.
Definitely not.
So why don't you tell, kind of give some backstory on kind of where you come from and what what professionally what you've done in San Diego and around different parts of California.
Sure. So I won't rewind too far, but we'll rewind to about 2007. That's when we actually met. I think that's when you came down to San Diego, Justin, for the Hard Rock.
I think it was 2009. It was 2009.
Was it 2009? Okay.
Yeah.
But me and my buddy started Sphinx Productions in college. One of my buddies actually started it. I was an engineering major, kind of did it in the background. The company just continued to grow, and that hobby turned into a pretty lucrative business as the San Diego nightlife grew over the years. We went from a couple bars, Rob's been around for a long time, to an actual decent nightlife setting here in town. Lots of options as the Hard Rock opened up and Stingaree came around, so on and so forth. And so Sphinx Productions kind of evolved into Five Group in 2013. Five Group was Sphinx combining with four other promotional companies, DJ Here Productions, TK, and D-Town, four production companies total. And so that started the management, consulting, marketing leg, along with the promotions that kind of got us in the door. So from 2013 to about 2016, we had our own day club at Harris Casino called Dive Day Club, alongside working with you guys from about 2010 to about 2015 at Intervention. So we were pretty busy with the day life, day club experience in SoCal, between Intervention being the biggest till Dive opened up, and having about, between the two shows, about 3,500 people a weekend between the Saturday, Sunday combo. As we progressed into 2016, 2017, we started doing what I like to call mini festival experiences. And so we started experimenting with very cool environments and vibes. So music was just one element of what we wanted to create. The scenery and the beauty of San Diego was the other. And so that played a key part in the venues that we selected. And so from 2016 till now, we've had, 15 to 18 mini festivals. Mini is between 2,000 and 8,000 people. So
not so many.
Big number. It's not so many is right.
Yeah. So that's where we are. We also consult other festivals on what their operations look like when they come into town, whether they need marketing support, operations on site, consulting, staffing, whatever that may look like. And Kaboo is one of those partners.
Right.
That's a quick
Okay.
elevator pitch for you, man.
That's good. Well, it's not your first rodeo.
Hey, Omid, though, before you got into the nightlife game, rumor has it that you were actually in a completely, totally different career path. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah. So
I mean, I heard something in the terms of like, perhaps engineering.
Fact. Yeah. So from 2003 to 2009, I had an engineering job working for a space technology sector. The Sphinx Productions always existed as a hobby. It was kind of like living a double life. One life I had a government clearance, the other life you're partying till 4 or 5 in the morning. And so it wasn't until about 2009, 2010 where I completely separated the two and just jumped all in into hospitality and nightlife.
Saying goodbye to a government engineering job and jumping into hospitality and nightlife means that there had to be a reason and opportunity there.
Totally. Yeah. So the big question everyone asked me at work was, why are you here? Right? You're young, you're single. You can do engineering, but it's clear it's not your passion. So the conversation was, I'm young. I don't have any tie downs. I don't have any commitments. So it's time to take some risks and see what we can create. And that's what I did. And at that point, I had left engineering to engineering sales. I got laid off in the middle of 2009. So I got a little bit of a help and a push out the door. And here we are.
So obviously with, COVID, the COVID era, as I like to call it, there's really no live events going on right now. There's no concerts, there's no festivals, at least in the States, and not your traditional setting. There's people putting on some like drive-ins and some apartment raves, I guess you would call them. But there's really nothing going on right now. So baseball just started, basketball just started, hockey. They're starting to pull the trigger on getting these seasons back underway. Now, with what happened with the Miami Marlins, they had 17 people test positive. So, these are some of the biggest organizations in the world that they're starting, and the NBA starting, and there's players opting out. There's a lot of moving parts right now. And I guess my first question is, Omid, if they, when I say they, I mean, I don't even know who we're talking about, the state of California, the federal government, if they started saying, okay, we can resume here, we can start doing some shows. First of all, would you do that in the state we're in? And if you did, what kind of, what do you think would happen, and what kind of a different experience do you think it would be, as opposed to like the old, okay, open up the doors and put as many people in as possible?
Yeah, great question. And I know you touch on the MLB, and I've heard rumors that they might be closing down sooner than later because of that disaster that's happening there. I think the NBA is successful because of the bubble they've created, and it's literally a bubble, right? Like, there's a certain zone that the players can't leave. The moment they leave that zone, it's a 14-day mandatory quarantine, no exceptions. And so in this current climate, if billion-dollar businesses are having to make such sacrifices to be successful, us as the little players, I don't even know where I would go, right? I think, we had Kevin, who's my business partner. We've had 4 or 5 festivals that basically fell after March 20th. And the April 20th one, which is our Baked Music Festival, we waited till about March 25th to cancel. And then we had a June date, and then we had an August 1st date, which is tomorrow. And then we had a late August date, and then an October date. And so initially we were just moving the line back, right? Let's move the line back. Let's see if let's determine a complete cutoff date. And if we can't pull it off by then we're going to pull the plug. Well, fast forward to today, we've pulled the plug on everything for 2020. Like, there is no reason to take the risk. Couple factors play into it. One is liability, right?
Sure.
None of the insurance festival insurance companies are providing any type of corona coverage. And so the ambiguity on what liability looks like in that range plays a huge part for us. Two, the venues we work with are city-owned properties. So the city is going to play a lot more of a conservative perspective when it comes to allowing events to occur. And it's the risk versus reward just isn't there, right? Obviously, you could do a show and be the only person that has any type of entertainment within a 100-mile, 200, 300-mile radius at this point, when SoCal is normally filled with dozens of festivals every weekend, right? It's so saturated down here. But to us, the risk versus reward just isn't there. And you surely don't want to be the guy that the government decides to make an example of, right? And
because they're going to make an example out of somebody.
Totally. And we've seen it with what happened with El Perez, which is a small bar that opened up here in San Diego.
Oh yeah, I was there. I was in town during that. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, so it's, you know, unless you get the sign off and the buy off of the mayor and the governor and you play full ball, then it's, the consequences are too severe to really take a risk right now.
Hey guys, so I'm going to interrupt real quick.
Sure.
You know, we've made it because we have like a spammer right now
We have a hacker.
in our chat. We have a hacker in our chat. I just fucking clipped his ass.
Nice.
So now he's banned. That's right.
Love it.
Banned.
You've been banned.
Okay. Yeah.
But speaking of the chat, if guys, for everybody in the chat, if you do have a question for Omid, put it up in the chat. If you've got questions about festivals, the live event industry, Omid is a expert, and so are we for that matter. And we'd love to get your opinions and questions so that we can address them.
Yeah, we are actually experts here. We kind of, we can hold our own in this conversation. I think we've been to a couple of events here and there. I need to make a new emote where I ban people. That like it is probably with this hat. Someone take a picture of this. Although I'm like red now. There's like a sunset here, so I'm turning different colors. And this is not just like my high blood pressure. I promise. Let's see if I can fix this real quick. No, that's definitely not it.
Yeah, Jenna has it right. We need like a trash can emote. Like when somebody gets banned, they just get sent right into the basura.
That's pretty good.
I'm so down with that.
I just figured out how to do it on the mod page. But anyway, this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo that no one gives a shit about. At least people that aren't Twitch people. Twitch people love it because everyone gets involved and it's really fun. But for people just watching, that don't know much about Twitch, probably not very exciting. So Omid, what do you like with you guys being shut down and really no start date? What are you doing? What are you doing to keep your company relevant, to keep yourself personally relevant, and and to grow yourself as a brand, as a human being? I we've talked a little bit about some things that you have going on, and I'd like you to try to go into that with the chat and tell them about the new cult you're in. I'm just messing with you.
Amazing. How do I block you from this conversation?
I couldn't resist. Why don't you talk about what you're doing now? Because it is really interesting.
So there was a couple parts to your question, so I'll try to address each one. So 5 Group as a company, Kev and I meet a couple times a week. We talk about what's the state of the city, where do we think people are at, what are they looking for. So we've created a drive-in concept called Audio that we're looking to launch. It was supposed to launch in July. Now we're looking at potentially September. And at this point, we only want to do top-tier talent. And so when you're dealing with top-tier talent, pricing is a very interesting conversation, right? Agents are still... You understand that from your days of talent buying, that it's a game, and that game is getting a little bit more balanced as time goes on. But figuring out a formula that works for everyone, that everyone can be happy is a push and pull.
Can I just tell a real quick story? Can I interrupt you real quick?
100%.
Is that going to stop you, Justin?
Well, I'd like to be nice about it.
No,
I was going to do it anyway.
no.
I think people in the chat might find this a little interesting. So Omid and I, as we said, we've worked together, for a very long time. And there was a project that they were working on very recently in what was it, earlier this year or last year? I don't even remember at this point.
It was last year. Yep.
Now, I'm not going to give any specifics on artists or what the actual festival was, but I was helping them with some talent buying. And for those of you that might not know the inside world of booking DJs, it's pretty insane and it's very competitive. There was a very well-known DJ that you all would know that we wanted to book. And I had not a great relationship, but I had a relationship with his agent. So I reached out and I said, would you be willing to look at an offer? And he said yes. And I will give some specifics, but not too many. I made an offer for $160,000 for this artist. You want to know what the agent said to us? Nothing, because they never even responded. Didn't get an email back. How about that? Someone offers you $160,000 for 90 minutes of your time, and you don't even respond. So, with that being said, where Omid was going with what he was talking about, where there's going to be a bit of a correction in the market, it's much needed. And just to everybody listening, a lot of times if you're going to a festival or club that you go to a lot, and all of a sudden, maybe the talent's not as great as it used to be. It's not always the venue's fault. A lot of times the fault lies with the artist or the artist's team because they have most of the leverage, or at least they did until now. So so that was my interjection here. Omid, where did you want to go with that? I mean, I assume you were kind of going that way.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? I mean, I'll throw out some specifics. Our drive-in's about 225 people, right? So 225 cars. So, the offer is based on about 1,000 people. And so, the math versus an 8,000 person event is completely different, unless you want every car to pay $1,000, $2,000, right? And so those are the conversations that are new that everyone's kind of maneuvering through. And, but that's what Kevin and I are working on. The beauty is, we're not in a desperate situation where we have to do events to survive. We've done well over the years that we're okay for a while. So we're making decisions based on whether it makes sense, and most importantly, whether people would want to see and have that experience, right? So if you're going to change people's music experience and have them drive up, what does it look like? Do they have a parking spot next to their car where they can actually get out of their cars, walk around, enjoy? What's the sound like? What's the viewing like? We're not looking to do, 40 rows back. We're trying to make sure everyone in the event feels like they're part of the event. So this is the stuff that we're kind of maneuvering through, as well as working with the city to make sure we're not made an example of. So that's the 5 group. Yeah.
It's funny. No, when we talked about you coming on the show, I had no idea you were doing a drive-in. That's pretty cool. So this is like breaking news.
You were just waiting for an opportunity to use that graphic too.
I love it. It's so much fun.
3 weeks in a row.
We got to get some sound on that bad boy.
That's awesome.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, that's on the management festival side. We've got our dates for 2021, and we're starting to engage with artists about talent for that. So that's nice. They're very open right now to booking stuff for next year.
But Omid, are you seeing that level? Sorry to interrupt, but are you seeing like agents and representatives working on those numbers in order to, like, are they realizing that these are the facts on the ground right now, that, getting people 8,000-10,000 people isn't going to happen? It's going to be much smaller gatherings, people much farther spaced out. And are they working on the numbers in order to help make these events happen?
I think everyone's optimistic, right? So everyone is looking forward and hoping that we'll get back to where we were. So that's the conversations that are happening about 2021, 2022. With regards to this year, there's simply some artists that are willing to work and want to work, and there's some artists that are like, no, I'm good. We'll wait to see what happens. And that's totally respectable as well, right? So it just depends on the agency, the conversation, and what the state of some of the artists are.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like Omid said, some people need to work, want to work. Some people, they're sitting on a deck in a Panama Jack hat and a Hawaiian shirt, not caring. That's not me. I'm just using my look today as an example.
You do look rather relaxed right now.
Yeah.
I'm not, if you're catching this podcast after the fact, like if you're not watching us live on Twitch and you happen to find us on Spotify, on Apple, or wherever you happen to get your, wherever you happen to get your podcasts, Justin is sitting on a beautiful patio. He's got, suburban New York, rural New York in the background. Beautiful pine trees.
New Jersey. Jersey Shore, bro.
Okay, sorry. Wearing his flamingo vacation shirt and a Panama Jack hat, looking about as
ridiculous
as one could be. Yeah,
And
or ridiculous was another word.
He lost his sunburn, so that's one.
I did. I
area
had
of
to fix
improvement.
the lighting here.
He's looking good.
Okay.
So I guess to continue.
Yeah.
So as a company, what we're doing right now, we've reached out to local restaurants that we know. We've offered them free email blasts from our database just to support local businesses. We're seeing so many of our partners just going out of business. So at this point, it's more of a, how do we support you guys? Because you guys have supported us through the years. That's the conversation. Unfortunately, when it comes to our staff, none of them are retained at this point, but we talk to them on a regular basis, and we support them where we can. Open communication, sure. That's the best we can do.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up. When this business, this industry comes back, will a lot of the major players, or maybe not major players, but will a lot of the people that make it go, will they come back, or will they have moved on at that point? And does nightlife and event production suffer because of that? I think that's a sad reality right now of what's going on.
I'd like to pose a question to everybody. I mean, or do we see a passing of the baton? I mean, let's be real. There is a finite amount of time that most people can spend in hospitality and nightlife. There are a few of us that are lucky enough to have been able to do this a little bit longer than others, but for the most part, you're kind of in and then you're kind of out. So does the future is the future going to be made by the people who are currently doing it now, or is the future of hospitality, nightlife, and events, is that going to be from a new generation that's going to bring new ideas?
What do you think, Omid? You're the
guest.
You, Omid, first. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there will definitely be an evolution, right? I think that if you don't evolve, you die. And everything that worked up until now needs to be relooked at. Like, a successful formula till now does not mean that there will be success in the future. It's just not where we're at, and everyone has to be aware of that. So I think experiential is going to be important. We're all striving to have human connection, but wanting to have that human connection with a level of feeling safe and feeling like it's okay. So there's a lot of unknowns, right?
Right.
What's the vaccine situation look like? Is it going to be a battle? Is it going to be mandatory for you to have the vaccine to be able to go to Coachella or to another festival along being able to get on a flight? All that is huge questions. And then will there be an anti-vax experience where people will be encouraged, right, to come to festivals where no one has a vaccine, or whatever that culture may look like? So it's evolving, and it's It's a train that's moving, and the wheels are being changed on the train as it's moving on the track.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Best analogy I can give you.
Yeah. So one thing that we do every week, and I'm putting you on the spot here. Since you've been in nightlife forever, and we always like to talk about our Knight's Tale segment, where you tell kind of a funny, crazy, interesting story of your time in nightlife or throwing an event, whatever it might be. So let's jump into A Knight's Tale with Omid Sabet. That never gets old.
Oh boy!
No, we are top quality. Our production values are second to none.
I mean, look at this wardrobe. This wardrobe budget we have.
It's a round number.
So
What's that? Sorry, I just again had another FaceTime coming in.
No, I was saying your wardrobe budget was a round number. Kind of looks like this.
I paid for this.
Okay.
Not the hat. Someone just gave it to me before we started. So what do you got for us, Omid?
So I'll tell you two stories.
Okay.
First story has to do with you.
Oh.
So back in the days when we were doing promotions for you, and there was something I sold to you and Andy, which was having a host from Shahs of Sunset, if you recall. And we ended up having one of the guys, won't say who, on the show. And
Mike, Reza,
it
MJ.
doesn't matter. And long story short, we had a great event, great night, and it resulted in,
GG.
I think we got really, really faded at the end of the night. We're going up to the hotel, and we end up getting in an argument with this belligerent girl, right? That just talking shit to us for no reason. And long story short, a fight breaks out. Hotel security comes in. Everyone's arrested downstairs in the lobby. And who walks in the door? Mr. Zotz. Sees us sitting there. Do you remember this, Justin?
I have zero recollection of this story.
You're
now that
kidding
could be for a couple of reasons. The most likely
think of
one
one.
being that as drunk as you guys were, I was probably drunker. So, that's option one.
I was so embarrassed, so pissed. And we dodged a massive bullet because luckily the cops that showed up were huge fans of the show.
Oh, God.
And so they released us, asked for a picture and an autograph, but it could have been bad.
I'm going to find this.
But yeah,
I do not-
Zotz, you were 100% there. You were the reason it didn't get a lot worse. So
If I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd have probably $0.
yeah.
All right, what's
So
your
that
other
was-
story? I like
was
that.
the
That one was good. I
story
like that.
That was the one story that went south real quick.
Okay.
I think I took 2 weeks off of Hard Rock after that. The next story is, so in 2012, I think at the peak of like promotions, we took 100 girls to Vegas. And if for those of you who don't know, like there was a time where Vegas paid for everything for girls to come to Vegas. So free rooms, free transportation, free dinners, free lunches, best tables at events. And so we did it was either 100 or 150. Honestly, doesn't matter once you get into that range. But we took about 100 girls to Vegas. It was either a Tao group or a Hakkasan trip. And it was just phenomenal. Like as you walk down the casino, you just watch every dealer, every gambling occurrence just stop.
Right.
It turns into just what's going on. It's like a show walking through a casino. And on that particular trip, a bunch of the girls disappeared. It turned out that they got taken up to like a secret gambling room with Leonardo DiCaprio and some other celebrities.
Of course they did.
Gambling. Yeah, at a fun private party. So that was a great trip. Dan Bilzerian used to come on some of those before he was DB. But that's
What does
another
that mean?
story
Oh,
for you.
Oh,
Before he was like Instagram famous.
gotcha. I remember he
All
came
right.
to one of our Halloween parties one time.
That's right.
Yeah. Of course, he had no shirt on because that's what he does.
Yeah.
There's people like
And when I
looking
show up with no
out here.
shirt on, people look at me weird. I don't get it.
But a mask. You have to have a mask.
Oh, that's what it is.
Hold on.
That's all I got for you, though.
I'm curious as to what's happening there on
Yeah.
New Jersey. I'm like,
I don't know.
Justin, it's live TV. Describe it as it's happening.
My stepmother just came out looking for something, and I don't know what she's looking for. I tried to help, but
Okay, fair enough.
I could not help.
Hey.
If anyone in my house here that I'm staying at is watching the show, I could use a Don Julio Reposado on the rocks, as opposed to sending a text. I think this would be more fun. And if one shows up right now, that would be amazing. So Omid, you mentioned briefly earlier a festival that you were involved with called Kaboo, and I think this is a really interesting story. How this all came about, the genesis of Kaboo, and kind of the ride that it's gone on. And I don't know how much you want to talk about, but if there's anything you don't want to talk about, I'm sure Zilla will jump in and give us all the details.
It may not be accurate, but I'll give it an opinion.
I'll let Zilla start.
No, I mean, every town wants to hang their hat on some sort of awesome music festival, and at one point there were a couple of folks that were awash in cash that decided that they wanted to do an upmarket music festival in Del Mar, California. For those that aren't familiar with Del Mar, it is where the turf meets the surf. It's one of the most picturesque areas in San Diego County, and it's a wide open space. It also includes a horse racing track, and these folks decided that they wanted to bring a music festival to Southern California, specifically there, that would be targeted and marketed to a more affluent crowd. Think of it like Coachella for rich people. I mean, it's really the only way that I know how to
I
describe
thought that's
it.
what Coachella was.
Okay, Coachella for the rich people's parents.
Oh yes, okay, that's good. I like that.
They did that's the backstory. Omid, I'm going to let you jump in on this because you've been involved with the project, I believe, since year one, correct?
Yep. So our involvement has grown as the years have grown. So where I'll like to start is to say it takes a lot of courage to take such a risk, right? So anybody who takes a major risk and creates something that hasn't been done before should be applauded. Whether it's extremely successful or not, it takes courage to step into risk. And I
Yes.
think that's what they did with what they initially started, right? It's not just a music festival. There's no porta potties whatsoever for those of you who have no experience. It's all like high-end bathrooms. There's comedy experiences with top-tier comedians. There's a food experience. There is no like garbage food. It's all top-tier food. Rob Zilla ran a portion of that, or the actual experience. What was it, 2018, 2019?
Year before last. So yeah,
2018.
2018.
Yeah, so there was a lot of moving parts to the experience. And Kaboo definitely grew year over year. I think where they struggled was the market wasn't as big as they expected. And so, plus the limitations of what Del Mar brings to the table, right? There's sound limitations. You can't have music past a certain time. Kind of gave them certain hiccups. But they learned a lot each year, and they've grown a lot each year. And I would say it's probably one of the best SoCal festival experiences that I can think of. I mean, outside of Coachella, I can't think of anything that I would want to go to personally.
I mean, the
That's
lineup
not-
is insane. The lineup's been insane. The only thing that I would say, and I agree with, as someone that's thrown events for a long, long time and have taken a lot of risks, I could not agree more. That as long as your intentions are in the right place and you're willing to take a risk, yes, I applaud you for that. I will. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk shit about people I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know. That's sounds like the opposite. But I'll talk shit about my friends that I think suck at certain things. But if I don't know you, I typically won't talk shit because of exactly what Omid just said. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and so here, and I'll fill people in. Like Rob and I had a conversation through Facebook about their latest announcement, which was canceling their move to Petco, the festival that was supposed to happen in September. And yes,
Yep.
we're involved. Can't talk about details. But there's so many underlying things that people aren't aware of when those decisions are being made. The most important being talent conversations, talent contracts. How do you get out of those engagements? How do you get your money back? What does that look like in terms of postponing or moving an event to the following year? Would I have done it differently? Sure. But until you're in those seats, it's really hard to play full executor of the decisions. And I'm not privy to all that information. So,
I will say this, that
Gotcha.
in my times over at Kaboo, the areas in which Omid and his team were responsible for were some of the most professionally run. I mean, it was like the who's who of San Diego nightlife. Omid assembled a dream team, whether it was from hosts, to the barbacks, the porters, the people that were making. Wow, you actually got your drink. That's impressive. That's service. Here, salute. Here, let's.
Full disclosure.
Come
Full
on.
disclosure. I had to text somebody. Full disclosure.
Oh,
Well, cheers, guys. Happy
So much
Friday.
for reality
This is-
TV. Happy Friday.
This
Cheers.
is my my first alcoholic beverage ever consumed on this podcast.
so watch this downward spiral.
Oh yeah, we got to end this. We got to end this thing fast before it kicks in.
Mel's Angels in the chat room just said it literally turned into the dead of night in Jersey in 2.5 minutes. I couldn't agree more. Like
I was
it just
thinking
went
the same
from
thing.
great background
How's-
to just boom, pitch black.
How's my lighting? How do I look?
Pixelated, but you're handsome as ever.
Pixelated? Really?
A little bit. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry,
And
guys.
Nikki Chips in the chat room says your Budweiser contract just got canceled. If you know Justin,
have a
Justin
Budweiser
loves
with
himself
with
a
the tequila.
Budweiser. Absolutely.
I was thinking the same thing about his background, though. Like, what's going on here?
He's got the most ambient background ever. You couldn't green screen that if you tried.
I was gonna say maybe it's just the green screen and I'm just messing with you guys and I'm in back in my hotel the last 2 weeks in New York.
If the sun begins
Absolutely.
to rise in the next hour, we'll know what's going on.
Yeah.
Back to the whole Kaboo thing. I mean, one of the things that gives me pause and hopefully a little faith that it will get better under the new ownership is that people like Omid are there because as we've experienced in San Diego, you can't come from outside of the market into this market. It's a very unique market, and a lot of folks that come in from outside of the market don't really succeed on their first couple of tries, right? It's nuanced. So if anything gives me hope that there might be a better experience at Kaboo in the upcoming years is that somebody that knows the market implicitly well, like Omid, like the team at the San Diego Padres who are kind of assuming certain aspects of it, that does give me faith. And I'm hoping that it, listen, I don't think anybody misses live music and live event production more than me. I miss going to concerts. I miss going to shows. I miss going to good festivals. So fingers crossed that 2021 is the year that things get put back together. So that's my piece on it.
Yeah, and
Go ahead, Omid.
Jay, here's what I would say to add on to that is Wanderfront, another trailblazer, right? So
Sure.
Wanderfront started last year. There's definitely some locals involved. Ernie Hahn, who owns the Sports Center, he's been around for many, many years, and they took a huge risk too. Like, how do we create something massive in San Diego? And if you're not familiar with Wanderfront, it basically takes all of the waterfront parks around town and connects them using boats and cruise ships, which is like such an incredible concept. And for disclosure, like some of the parks they use is where our festivals occur. They just took, instead of one park, 6 parks and tried to create a 30,000 person experience in the heart of downtown. And was year one sold out? No. But did it create something amazing in the city and that people were ready for? And is it great for hospitality, tourism, business? Absolutely. And it's a huge risk. Like, you know, to lose a couple million starting a festival is a big bullet to bite. And as we all know, Coachella lost money for how many years? 6, 7 years?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, you know, I don't know if everyone knows this, but I'm going to tell you right now, so you don't go out and just start a festival thinking you're going to make money. When nobody makes money their first year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5 years sometimes.
Right.
This is like a long process where, as Omid just said, Coachella never made money in the beginning, and they almost canceled it. They were in debt. And then, you know, all of a sudden, there's a tipping point, and that's where you can be very successful in this business. But, you know, a company like Insomniac or even LED, which is a local San Diego company, they didn't make any money when they first started their events. So don't think that it's easy to do. So if you're ever thinking of starting a festival, I would highly advise against it.
Yeah, so
I'll tell you that right now.
Zillachella is not happening in 2020 or 2021, but we are looking for a 2022 launch.
I do like that name though, Zillachella.
You like that?
Yeah.
I just made it on the fly, just like
After
that.
a couple more shots from Justin, I want to see him say it 5 times fast.
I can't even do it now. I've had one sip.
Zillachella.
Jenna in the Twitch chat room says there's no Coachella, but it's Couchella every weekend in 2020, and she could not be more right.
Yeah.
Every day.
That is right on it.
Also, I will say.
Go ahead. Sorry, Justin.
No. You go.
I was saying our good friend Sid Neeson jumped into the chat room a few moments ago, and I'm going to keep it really PG for once. Omid F Yo Couch is what Sid's chiming in on.
I saw it, Sid, and you're right. It's Yo Couch.
And for everybody in the chat that doesn't know, that is the world famous Sidney Sampson.
No, that's the world famous DJ Sid Vicious.
Okay, then that is Sid Vicious.
Yeah, actually,
clearly I am terrible at names.
That's okay.
I tell you, the Twitch thing, you have to remember everybody's names and stuff, and trying to pronounce everything. It is the worst thing ever.
It is.
Yeah,
not
actually,
easy.
Sidney Sampson's legal name is actually Sidney Vincent Sampson. We share a middle name together, Sidney and I. And the world famous DJ Sid Vicious, his government name, as we like to call it, is Sidney Neeson. So now that we've cleared up the Sidney. Oh wait, Sid just texted me and he said that is my actual couch. Omid bought it from me. Is that true? Is that true? Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. So you missed this. You missed this during pre-show. That's the reason why. And I was waiting for one of you guys to actually drop that into the conversation. But
that's so good.
That's why I said Yo Couch. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I was thinking you were censoring that out. If you guys know what I'm talking about at all.
That is great.
That is good.
I love that from a tiny snippet of the couch, he recognized it. That's the beauty.
Well, he knows that if he sold it to you, you're not buying a new couch.
Appreciate that.
Hey, sorry, I had a question though, really quick, about festivals in general, and I know you can only say so much because you obviously have a business relationship with the folks at Kaboo. But are you excited about like a new downtown destination as opposed to a coastline? I mean, I'm not going to ask you to say anything negative about the new location. So why don't you tell us about what are the things that are like that are going to make you excited about moving the festival downtown?
Yeah, so I saw the layout. I loved it. I think the integration that it creates with downtown nightlife creates this seamless experience for people. It's a lot more accessible to hotels, transportation, local transportation. As you know, Del Mar was extremely difficult to get in and out of, right? And so I want to say that a couple of years ago, it was 3 hours to just get onto the freeway. and then it got to 2 hours, and then Uber wait lines were 2+ hours. So bringing it downtown really alleviates the exit strategy, as well as how late people can experience live music, because Del Mar has its own restrictions. It's an older community. It really wasn't embraced the way it should have been for what it was bringing to the city. And Petco and the Padres are forward thinking.
Sure.
So yeah, I think it's great. And Petco's been doing a ton of concerts over the last couple of years, as I'm sure you've experienced, with some really, really big names, Paul McCarthy, etc.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say Paul McCarthy?
I was hoping that was a technical glitch.
Take that back.
I got to break your balls. Paul McCartney.
Yeah, he was in the Rolling Stones, right?
Thank you.
It's in the Beatles.
Got him.
Yeah, John Paul, George Ringo.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, Omid. I couldn't help myself.
That's okay.
We know each other a long time. I always break your balls. And then you tell me English is my second language, so shut the fuck up. That's what you normally tell me, so that's okay.
It's true. But thank you for the correction. So yeah, I think it'll be great for the city.
Well, fingers crossed, because I think everybody that's in this chat room, that's on this podcast, and everybody that's listening is ready to just, kind of move on. We just want everybody to be safe, happy, healthy, figure out what the therapeutics or whatever it is that we need to do to just kind of things start getting back to some level of normalcy, and bringing back live entertainment.
Yeah, I would ask you guys a question. What would you pay to go to a safe live event right now?
I mean,
not in your car.
Safe.
Well, you know what, Zilla, let's cede the floor here to Neil, because I think he's had very strong opinions about public events and stuff like that, and I'd be curious to hear him before either of us jumped in.
What would I pay? Yeah, first off, Jenna in the chat, actually, what's considered safe? Because my version of safe is way different than other people's versions of safe, and we've talked about this in other podcasts.
Well,
I
Neil,
want
let's use
a loaf of bread, so I want to know what's safe. What you guys consider safe is.
Why don't we use the example of Zilla had sent? I don't know if he sent it just to me or Neil, but it was a video of an apartment concert, which I don't know if you know, or a hotel concert, where there was a courtyard, and then surrounding the courtyard were a bunch of hotel rooms that went up 25 floors, and I mean, it was probably 400 or 500 rooms, and they were allowing 4 people in each room. So Neil, if the 4 of us, we're friends, and we know that we're all safe, is that something you would go to, where there's a balcony with just the 4 of us and no one else around us?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's almost like an all or nothing kind of thing. That's not really an experience for me. I would much rather do it virtually, because it's almost the same thing. That's just for me, though.
Yeah.
Right now, it's. I mean, I can only speak for myself, and with the whole New York situation, I'm okay with staying here and waiting for it to blow over, because I just know what the worst looks like, and everybody's experiencing it now. So can I wait a couple months longer? Sure, because I know what the situation looks like on the other end. A lot of people are fighting it, and that's what puts us in this situation now. So that's what that's why I want to know what is considered safe. Like, right, for instance, I think it was last week Chainsmokers did an event in the Hamptons.
In the Hamptons, yeah. And
the governor did not like that. But then if you saw the photos of it, they were standing on top of their cars. For the people that were going there that thought it was safe then, and to see it turn from inside their cars to everybody standing on top of their cars and piled on top of each other, how do you enforce that?
Right.
For the people that are really freaked out, can you enforce it?
Yeah.
I mean, Neil brings up a great point. Sorry, Neil brought up a great point where it really is about the experience. Like, we can have the music. You can listen to the Chainsmokers anywhere. You could pull them up on your, off your Alexa device, right? I think I just triggered my Alexa device. But the point being is, I don't necessarily know if I don't want to go to anything unless I can experience it 80, 90%. Like, I know that there's going to need to be some level of concession, right? Like, there are things that are going to need to change. But I still want to engage with people. I still want to interact with them. I still want to, have a good time. And I just don't know what that's going to look like in the future. So I'm hesitant and tepid as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would probably go the opposite direction, and I would probably pay less than I would on a normal live event. Now, I know that's, we're in a situation where nobody's making any money, but we're also not getting the full experience anyway. So why would we pay even more? That's just, I mean, I don't really go to too many live shows anyway, but that's just my way of thinking as far as that.
Yeah.
Mel's Angels in the Twitch chat room. I would agree. To me, possible consequences isn't worth a fractional experience. To your point, Mel, I would say that the whole experience isn't worth the possible consequences as of this conversation right here, right now.
But Omid, I have a question. Have you thought about for your company dipping into the virtual space?
Yeah. So when the shutdown initially started, we actually were doing a weekly Twitch live set with different DJs, raising money for charity locally, tied to my other venture. And what we started to notice was that space started to get saturated. And then how do you compete with Diplo doing his own show? And you're having guys that are of a lower tier, for lack of a better example. I think
Kevin Brown, he doesn't mean that. I'm apologizing for Omid, Kevin.
I think he was calling you out, Kevin, personally.
Here's what I would say is that, and disclosure, he's a friend of mine, but Little John has been so consistent with his sets every Saturday, sometimes on Sundays as well, that he's the only one that I've seen some sort of consistency from that people can rely on. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen that from others. It seemed like there was this huge spike in virtual sets being done all the time. And then end of May, June, as people thought things were going to open up, things started to die down a bit. But it's not something that I'm very passionate about. And anything that we do, Kev and I got to make sure that it vibes with us and it makes sense. And same with the drive-ins. Like the first 2 months, it was a hard no. But as we started exploring, like, all right, how do we create this experience where people do have space next to their car? They're not crammed in their car. And the litmus test for us is always, would I go? So,
as a DJ, also DJing on Twitch, I just noticed that the sets that I do are completely different than the sets that I would normally do in a club. And thanks, Gabe. But I have found myself noticing that, one, it is not the same set I would do at a club. Two, it is not the same mentality that I would do at a club. With Lil Jon, I haven't really sat through his sets, but I can imagine from what I've seen from them, it's a different approach than the Lil Jon that we would see at XS or any other. You just have to get, it just seems like you have to get a little creative. Like, for instance, on Twitch, I mean, you guys got like all the massive gamers that have 56,000 viewers in one shot. Maybe it's a combination of the artist and gamer, the marriage of the two, because again, we're invading in their space. This platform has been here for 10 years. So there's an ecosystem in there long before we even got into it. But we've never even tapped into it. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you had a host that was a massive gamer, that could be the celebrity host. it's just ideas that I thought maybe it we just have to get a little bit more creative in the virtual space, and even closed circuit. There's other like small. I have a friend that launched a platform that they can close it out, and it's ticket sales, you know. But I've realized that it's more, you have to involve the chat and the people that are viewing. So I don't know. It's just it was just one of those things that I had thought of.
Yeah, and I think VR is definitely beginning to play a part in that too, right? Like virtual reality, and like, can you actually have the DJ in your living room playing a set if you're wearing the headset? And I think there's a huge evolution that's going to happen with that and that type of engagement, and it's already moving in that direction. We've kind of demoed some of that stuff. So who knows, right? It's, as I said, we're just kind of paving through this. And
I was going to tell you that I actually own an Oculus Quest VR headset, and you can go back, and they're using those 360 cameras, and you can be at a soccer game, you could be in a comedy club, and you look to your right, you look to your left, and there's other people's avatars that are there in the room, and someone's doing a set, and it's similar. It's not the same, but it's like the technology is progressing in that direction.
Seems like there's way better uses for that than seeing Tiesto in your living room.
Well, I mean, listen, I could. That's a different topic for a different show. I've scared the living crap out of my parents. There's an actual program called, I think it's called The Plank, and I will own this right here, right now. I have an innate fear of heights that is probably second to none. Like I will see things on TV that like make me shiver. Or yes, Todd hates you, exactly. And on this, this one program that actually Todd McCandless turned me on to is that you go up on an elevator, and then the elevator opens up into this giant skyscape, and you step out and you are walking a plank, and your mind, that you're in your living room. You know that you're on solid ground, but your mind is tricking you, telling you that you are 70, 80, 90 stories up in the sky, and there's a 1 foot wide plank that's keeping you from falling to Mother Earth. So I think that the technology is interesting, especially when you're talking about things like e-games, and what you were talking about, Neil and Omid, earlier about combining, music and interactivity. I mean, maybe that's the future, where there's a bunch of people competing against each other in an e-game because we can't compete live, and then there's a DJ that's doing a live music set that's kind of in line with what we're seeing on the screen.
I mean, I'm looking at my the channels because I follow a lot of gamers. I don't know anything about games. I'm just like, I try to get a lot of techniques from gamers, but I'm looking at, for instance, Tim the Tatum. Everybody, my nephew Amani, who does all of our video editing, he put
shout out Amani.
Hey, right now he's gaming, and he has 52,900 people watching him play a video game. Now you combine that, put him in a studio with Little John. I don't know how many people Little John, and you have only 2 people as far as entertainers. You could easily get about 100,000 people, 100,000 sets of eyeballs on there. It's just a different formula, and like a lot of us DJs are talking about it. We're changing we have to change our mentality as far as how we approach this. It's more of an interaction thing. It's not you get on stage and you're going for it. You're now, I described it to some DJs like this. The people that are in the chat are no longer the people in GA. They are the people in your DJ booth. So how do you treat them? You get 100,000 people. You have to make 100,000 people feel like they're in the DJ booth. Talk to them, So anyway, it's all about engagement.
I'll say I'm surprised that none of the top tier DJs, the biggest DJs in the world, the Calvin Harris's of the world, the Chainsmokers, people like that, I'm surprised they haven't really taken advantage of live streaming, because I might not be a fan of those guys, and I wouldn't pay anything to see them. But they have, I mean, millions and millions and millions of fans. And if they put together a live stream where they charged $1, just $1, and you could see a set by Calvin Harris, do you know how much money these people could make? I mean, I would think millions of people would probably pay $1. Why are they not doing that? What's that?
Not to mention sponsorships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why are they not? Or even, you know, if I'm a beer company or Red Bull, I'm gonna give one of these guys $200,000 and then try to make the money on that $1 per person.
Right.
To me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why no one's done it yet. Okay, Sid Vicious just texted me. He said Marshmello does this already. Shout out to Mo Shalizi, Marshmello's manager, who is ahead of everybody on most everything. So good for him.
You know, I don't know if you can see this
what?
on my phone. You can't see this on my phone, but Sid sent me, like, if you Google search Marshmello Fortnite, Marshmello has a Fortnite extended set. It's an actual album that goes along with Fortnite, which I can't figure it out. Maybe this is why I'm the old. Not only are we the old guys in the club, but I'm also the old guy on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One.
Live Nation also signed a contract with Twitch
Oh wow.
Yeah.
just recently.
DJ Marco Penta is saying Travis Scott does this as well. I believe he did an Astro World version of. There was like an Astro World Fortnite event. It was a one-night thing where you could jump into, which, you know, shout out to everybody that's being creative, that's thinking outside the box, that's finding ways to continue connecting people. DJ JB 916 or 916, are you hitting us from Sacramento? Fortnite is having DJs DJ in Fortnite. They had Diplo and Dylan Francis. I am Nicky Chips. What up, Nick? Marshmello is a gamer. So, you know, I think that the industry and the way that people are finding ways to connect with one another they're taking pivots, and they're taking advantage of this new normal. And I hate that term, but it's the only way to describe it. This is the new normal, and they're finding ways, because if you don't do things like this, you will fade out. I'm guessing you're going to fade out into obscurity, right?
There's a lot of open format DJs that haven't done anything, and a few of us were talking about it. You haven't heard from them since.
Yep.
Right.
Whoever can come out of this on top will be the names that people will remember. The thing is, and all the numbers are there. Like, you don't have to guess. Like, the average viewership, it's listed. How many unique viewers? You just present that to a company. They're looking at checks there. And a lot of the companies, they don't even know what to do at this point, how to advertise. So we're literally, I was also describing it, we're the influencers before influencers knew they were influencers. And then it came to be.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
we just got to get ahead of it. That's why I was just asking, like, have you ever thought about the virtual space? Because it's all the information is right there now.
Yes, Omid, when is the first 5-group Fortnite Battle Royal? When are we going to do that? And Neil Jackson will DJ.
We're behind
Let's
the
just
ball
make
on
this
that.
happen.
I
Let's
will,
innovate together. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, don't say anything, Neil. I have to negotiate with Omid.
That's why I back away. I'm like,
Remember, this
No, but there's-
podcast, this is my side gig. I eventually we got to go back to real life.
Welcome to the Zilla Ruins Everything podcast.
this could be the new real life.
So guys,
though,
yeah. So, you know, just to kind of wrap this topic up, I will say that I've talked to event producers that I'm friends with, as well as corporate event talent buyers, people that book massive artists for, you know, Fortune 500 companies, annual sales celebration, stuff like that, booking a $500,000 act or $1 million act or a $2 million act. All of them have told me 2022. So if next year's a wash too, we've all, and that means Omid, me, Neil, Zilla, everybody,
I'll still sell
everybody
sandwiches.
that can benefit from live streaming, start now. It's not too late. I will say that it is not too late, because the the curve on live streaming, if you're in it the right way and you listen to people and don't be stubborn and just try to do what you do, you can succeed doing it. There's room for everybody, and that's why, Omid, when you mentioned that you were doing it, but then Diplo was on another channel, or somebody, I forget who you mentioned. In all honesty, it doesn't matter, because there's people that will log on to you or whatever you're doing. I'm guessing there's hundreds of podcasts on Twitch right now, but we have viewers. Maybe other podcasts have less, some have more, but we have our group, and we're growing it week by week. So I mean, that would be my only advice. But so I think we've beat that one to death, and now I think as we get
Jay, let me just add something real quick.
Yeah.
I think like COVID, I like to refer to it as the great equalizer, right? Like you've got top tier talent. You've got a guy who's starting out. This guy's got 250 shows a year. This guy can't get one. And they've been brought to the same level, right? So now it's like, it's your chance to go. If you really want it and it's your passion and your purpose, it's a beautiful opportunity to go where you want to go.
That is a really, really, really good point. That if anybody out there is listening to this, DJ friends of ours or anybody that thinks they might want to live stream anything, something, cooking, yoga, we got Rama Rich in the chat, anything like that. Like there is a lane for everybody in this new world. There really is. So that's a great point. Thanks for throwing that in. So now it is time for everybody's favorite segment of the show. Aha. Omid, if you need some graphics done, we got a good guy. So this is Grinds My Gears, the part of the show where we basically talk about something that frustrates us. So as the guest, Omid, we'll let you go first or last. That's totally up to you, and we'll work around it. What do you want to do?
I'll go last.
Okay. All right, Zilla, I'm putting you on the spot because you're Mr. Nice Guy, and I want to hear Mean Zilla today.
For as much as I love this segment, it's hard for me. So here we go. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. What really grinds my gears? People that are out on social media living their best life when they owe you money. Those people.
This is a good one.
I was gonna say that, Rob. You beat me.
No, you weren't. No way.
I was. I swear.
I could pivot because I have a second one in the hip pocket just in case that one didn't fly. Look, I'm sorry, folks, but you cannot be. I can't tell you what to do or how to do it, but if you've got money in your pocket that belongs to somebody else and you're posting pictures of your lavish meal at this hot new place in town, or your really cool delivery from Amazon, and you're paying with it with somebody else's money, you're paying for it with somebody else's money, you kind of suck as a human being. So I'm just going to leave it right there.
That's pretty good. Zilla, I'm very proud of you today. I will say that.
Thank you. I don't really hate you, but I'm just really disappointed in the person you've become, money. And I'm going to clarify it. There's nobody that owes me money at this point. I just want to make sure that I know that, but I see this all the time.
I want to interrupt really quick because there's a special guest that I want to pull into the show real quick.
Sure.
That is a mini. That's one of my mini me's. That's Tommy.
Hi, Tom.
Say hello.
Hi. Tom's very excited to be on the show.
I'm on vacation.
Tom just turned 11.
He did. He just turned 11 this week, and we're at this nice beach house in LBI on the Jersey Shore. And you know what? This leads me into my Grinds My Gears. Yes. And this Grinds My Gears is directed 100% at myself. I grind my gears, and want to know why?
Because you're old.
Because that hat.
It must be this hat.
That shirt.
So I will tell you something that grinds my gears are people that can't relax on vacation. And
Ooh.
I will tell you, I am so mad at myself right now that I've been here for almost a week and I cannot relax. And it is really, really grinding my gears. And this cocktail I'm having here is helping. I will tell you that. But this whole week I've been stressed out for whatever reason. I have not drank enough, and that's my own fault, and I'm mad at myself.
Can I add a little like an asterisk to that, if I could, please?
That's a hard
which
word to
are-
say.
Asterisk?
Yeah, especially after a cocktail.
Okay. People that know that you're on vacation and still decide to bother you anyways. Those people grind my gears. Because
That's
I've
pretty
worked for
good.
those people over the years that, like, I'm on vacation and I'm taking my mandatory PTO and I'm on a cruise ship, off the Caribbean somewhere, or couple nights in Vegas, and it's like, hey, just wanted to send you this email. Know you're on vacation. Yeah, I hate those people. So those people grind my gears.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Neil, what do you have today for us? This should be good.
French fries.
No. It's actually it is actually food, but it's
Of course it is.
I don't know in which direction to take this first. So I'm just gonna go for it. Buffalo wings.
There's layers to what?
Wait, what?
So, and this is why I was trying to figure out how to go about this. I do like buffalo chicken strips. Buffalo chicken strips. I do like that. I do not like buffalo wings. It's not enough meat.
Okay.
So I just don't get them.
What about boneless ones?
Yeah, I like boneless chicken strip. I mean, buffalo chicken strips. I just don't like buffalo wings. I never understood why people order those.
You see this look right here, Neil Jackson? This is the look of me judging you. This look right here. This is the look of judgment.
Is that the angry Zilla that Justin was looking for?
You're grinding Zilla's gears right now.
I think I'm grinding a few people's gears right now. Look at Mr.
Look, you're
Skin.
entitled. You're whatever, your dietary things. I get it. I mean, that's great. God bless you. But for real though, like,
It's just messy. It's messy.
do you eat your pizza with a knife and fork too, bro?
Well, they do in Italy.
Right.
DJ Marco Pinta in the Twitch chat says boneless wings are just chicken nuggets. No, chicken nuggets come in a box with a side of barbecue sauce, and it's handed to me from a clown in a drive-through. Those are the only nuggets that are acceptable.
The only reason why I don't like them is because they're messy. They taste great. They're just not enough meat. So that's why I go with chicken boneless buffalo chicken strips.
Well, you're not going to buffalo
What
wings
is your
with
take on
Neil.
wings?
I love wings, but the next meeting between you guys is not at buffalo wings. That's for sure.
Oh no, we're gonna. You know what? The next time you're in town, even though there isn't like a Buffalo Wild Wings near me, Neil, you and I are going to lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we are going to.
They probably have a chicken, like a boneless chicken wing option.
Yeah, you're not
They
getting
do.
that.
They do.
But you're not going to.
Because there are like-minded people just like me.
But it only comes with French fries, Neil.
Okay.
Neil hates French
I'll
fries,
just give-
but I'm
I'll
not
just
sure if
give-
you knew that.
We're having lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings and dinner at Benihana just to spite you, Neil Jackson.
I will buy an early flight home. Very early flight.
No, I'm paying for both of these meals too, just to really just.
Man, this is turning into every week. It's like Neil's
That's
food
awesome.
rant.
Oh wow.
Neil, what are you having for dinner tonight? Now I'm curious. Or what did you have for dinner?
Well, like lately, I've been on a gnarly diet, so probably chicken breasts and vegetables. That's normally what I like. Meat and vegetables is what I normally eat. So I'm not too adventurous right now.
Is the chicken breast marinated in any way, or is it just
Seasoned, not marinated. I don't really have that kind of time. This live streaming life has like literally destroyed all my time.
You don't have to look at the chicken while it's marinating. Like you can just like pour something over it and put it in the fridge and come back to it a little bit later.
Right. The thing is I never really even food isn't like my like priority. I'm like,
Yeah,
I wake
we
up at
know that.
7, live stream. Go to today, went to B&H, came right back, live stream. Get off, go back on live stream later on tonight. That's my life.
You are committed to you're committed to your craft, but God, you would be a horrible chef. I'm never coming to a dinner party at your house. But we love you anyway. But we love you for who you are, not what you serve.
All right, Omid, it's your turn. What do you got for us?
So I'm dead certain that, or I'm dead serious that I was going to say, what grinds my gears is people who owe me money and they go on vacation.
That's so great.
On my Instagram, I don't know if you guys have seen the meme of the airplane window and there's a duck looking in the airplane window and it says, when you see someone going on vacation that owes you money. I post that on my story once every 2 months just to be like, yo, I remember. So that grinds the shit out of my gears. But something else that grinds my gears is people who complain about shit and they continue to do the same thing over and over and over. I call them the still people, still complaining, still not innovating, still not changing their behaviors, but they're so good at being the victim. That shit just grinds my gears.
Okay.
I respect that.
I can respect that.
I like that. That's a good one. So we're at the point in the show where we're about to kind of be done here. And I think your grinds my gears is going to lead into the next thing I'm going to ask you before we leave. And I always ask the guests to kind of, before we get off, tell us what you're working on, like what you're promoting right now. Obviously, there's no events, really. So what do you want to put out there right now? What are you working on? What do you want people to know that you're doing right now? And I think this will tie in after your grinds my gears.
Awesome. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of personal development, personal growth work in the last 18 months or so. And so I started a company called Positive Movement, and I'm in the middle of starting a nonprofit called the Positive Movement Foundation, and they go hand in hand. Positive Movement is inspiring and encouraging people to really take committed action into their purpose and create the life that they want to live, whatever that may look like for you. But stepping into the discomfort, taking risk, and knowing that you only have one life to live. So the time is now to really step into that. And then how that ties into the Positive Movement Foundation is that really at the source of it, knowing that when you're in contribution to others, that's where we are our happiest. So, give. Even when you don't have money or things like that to give your time, give your voice, give words of encouragement. And that's really what I've been working on during this time, is focusing out on others. Like, no matter what our situation looks like, our business is shut down, great. And there's people who are worse off, and we've got a lot to be grateful for.
Well, to respond to that, I can say with confidence, you are a much better human being than the three of us on this show. And
what?
And
speak for yourself.
Yeah, I was
and
it's not a competition, Zotz.
I'm listening to him. I'm agreeing. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, I'm like, what are you talking about?
But no, man, like, thank you so much. And coming on the show right now, it was awesome. And I appreciate your perspective on the events, but more so what you're doing right now and just being a good dude. It's just who you are. You always have been, in my mind.
Even as a promoter, huh?
Even as a promoter, I didn't hate you, which is basically the highest praise you can give a promoter. No offense to the other promoters, because I probably don't hate you either. There's some I do, but not all of you.
I mean, as a promoter, and you won't even promote the fact that, so I'm going to do it for you, Omid. Like, I've seen your social media feeds and I see the things that you're engaged with. One of the things that, like, you have an active role, I believe, with the All About the Kids Foundation, as well as Angela Baptiste's charity, which is making sure that children that are insecure, that are food insecure, still have access to nutrition, especially during these times. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I going down the right path with this? And I think that is saying something that, in this world where everybody's world has been flipped upside down, you're taking time and energy out of your life to help improve somebody else's life with something as simple as making sure that they have food on their table. That's admirable, and for that I salute you.
Thank you, man.
Wow.
Well, he's not going to promote it himself.
I'm not following that.
I don't even know how to follow that up.
I'm done.
Neil, Zilla, do you guys have anything that you're working on this week, promoting live streams? Neil, you got to tell us your schedule. Zilla, what was the special today at the deli? You got to talk about the deli. I know what it is, and I don't even live there.
Every Friday we do falafel at Crossroads Deli. That is my little sandwich shop in University City, the University City area of San Diego. But don't forget to follow each and every single one of us. By all means, DJ Marco Penta is asking, is there a link or a place to donate for the food insecurity? I think Omid, I'll link you guys up together afterwards. If you're not able to respond, we'll make sure that we get you the info you need, Marco.
And humanintention.com will redirect to the new site. You can find the link to It's All About the Kids, or you can buy one of the Be a Good Human or Kindness is Cool shirts. 100% goes to the charities right now.
Phenomenal. Awesome. So before I jump off, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because this show does not happen without each and every single one of you. And
because I'll forget to say it, so you got to listen to Zilla.
Yeah. And as people in the chat wanted to know, where can they order their Cuban cigars from you, Justin? Also, where can they buy your dinosaur eggs?
Merch store will be opening in a couple weeks.
Oh, the dinosaur eggs.
This would be a
classic.
Is this a new logo?
Neil, can you put the Jurassic Park theme song on real quick, please?
So wait, would that make me the Sam Neill character? I'm okay with that. That's a cool dude.
No, you would be more like
Don't say Wayne Knight.
Shit. All right, so moving on. So that's everything happening here, and we will see you guys next week at 5 o'clock. Mr. Neil Jackson, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so Sunday we have White Label Sundays, which it's me, E-Rock, and Romeo Reyes. And Monday through Friday, I do a morning show called Beans, Rhymes, and Life. It's just a coffee, wake up in the morning, really chill, dance music, old school hip hop feel. But we do that from 10 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. And then I have my Magic City Tuesdays, where I just play a bunch of hood music, or what my chat calls ratchet music. Then I have my Wind Down Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then other than that, just working on more music, and that's about it. That's
nice.
Me. Oh, also, I want to give a shout out to Sid Vicious for texting me saying that he also agrees with me about hating buffalo chicken wings. So thank you, Sydney. I'm not the only one.
That's not. I'm telling you, that's not. Having angry Sid agree with you on anything is not validation.
He said, and I quote, "I think they are disgusting," end quote. So yeah, that.
I'm not going near that one at all. No, nope,
but order the buffalo wings at all Riot Hospitality locations.
Yes,
we're promoting Riot Hospitality for Sid right now. So in addition to what Neil just mentioned, we do have White Label and Friends tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And we have a very, very special guest, someone that I used to work with, have been friends with for a while now. And he's kind of new to Twitch, but he's a lot of fun, and he's going to be in the chat. He's going to be very entertaining, and that is William Lifestyle. So hopefully
Nice.
You guys tune in tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific, White Label Agency channel. And then the other thing that I am going to promote is we're trying to get ahead of the curve here on guests, and we have our guests booked for the next couple weeks already. I'm not going to mention 2 weeks from today, but next week we have someone coming on the show that I think the majority of you people in the chat are very familiar with, and that is E-Rock. And our topic with E-Rock, and it'll tie into a lot of the stuff we talked about today, is overcoming adversity and creating opportunity in this crazy time that we're living in. So that's going to be a really, really interesting show. And if you know E-Rock at all, I mean, we could just put him on the screen and he could entertain us for an hour without any.
I'm not even coming next week. I'm just going to sit here and watch the show.
There's going to be a cutout of Zilla in the corner, and you're not even going to say anything. You're going to be at the beach.
Impossible.
All right, guys. Well, I think we touched on everything we wanted to, and again, Omid, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, I think we did it, guys. One of the kids in my room. By the way, on my vacation, I'm sleeping in a bunk room with an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. There's 4 bunk beds. I'm in one of them. This guy with this stupid hat on is in a bunk bed.
Are they getting any sleep, Justin?
I'm asleep before them half the time. I'm not lying. But anyway, Omid, thank you. Neil just left us. I don't know what just happened.
Where did Neil go?
The guy that's going to play out the music, he just left.
And that's a wrap.
No, so Omid just beatbox us out. Just, beatbox us.
Well, I don't really know what to do. But, I mean, we started the show kind of fucked up. We're going to end the show kind of fucked up. Hey,
can we do the same countdown on the way out as we did on the way in?
We could. I don't think we're going to do that, though. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to say adios, and I'm going to put an overlay on the screen, and it's going to be our show next week, and that's it. So thank you guys for coming. Omid, thank you again, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Woohoo!